Hello everybody, how are you all doing today? And okay, dear YouTube, what the hell is this stuff? YouTube, what the hell is this stuff? Sorry about that. YouTube giving me some bad ambient choices this time around. Nah, skip that. Well, I find something to listen to while we're going through the Blender documentation so I can at least understand how Blender works. There we go. I like this. I'm gonna go with this. Last we left off, we had finished user interface and hopped right into the editor's part of the documentation, of which we left off with a navigation part of the editor, aligning. Let me just put it on screen now that I got it all set up. I'm gonna try and get through this as fast as possible so we can hop onto theater as soon as possible. Also, hopefully there's some more hands-on related stuff on this. Thinking maybe after I finish with theater, maybe I'll hop on into it and try and make something random. Some random object or something. Don't know exactly what I'm gonna make yet. I might put a poll on Discord on, or maybe ask for suggestions there, and we'll see what I make. Before I go on, and because I'm already forgetting, down the description below there's a link to the power shop where you can purchase energy mixes, sleep mixes, hydration mixes, shakers, and even stickers. If you use code BLACKHEART, you will get a 10% discount. And let's not waste any more time and hop on right into this. For those that are watching this for the first time, I do this live, this whole Blender stuff, alongside with Krita, which I'm learning both things at the same time. Later after the stream, I separate both into two separate videos and later upload them to both YouTube and VStream. So those that want the Blender part only, they can watch that, and those who want the Krita part only, then they can watch that. And for those that probably hear the fan in the background, I am not turning that thing on because it is freaking hot today. Do let me know if the music is loud though, so in case you guys cannot hear me. On my recordings I could still hear myself quite well, but well, you never know. Anyways, let's hop on right in. Aligning. This option allows you to align and orient the view. Axes. Blender uses the right angle Cartesian. I cannot pronounce this properly. Coordinates systems. I know the cardinal coordinates. I think it's Cartesian. I don't know what that's supposed to. I cannot remember properly. Coordinate systems with the C axis pointing upward. The Blender has a different one then. Normally the y-axis is up and down normally, like in Unreal, but in this case it's like one Jen mentioned on the last stream of Unreal stream. Some editors actually switch the Y with the C. In this case, C is up and down, and Y is front and back, which is weird and, in my point of view, wrong. Like, when you think up and down, you think Y-axis, not the C-axis. I don't know why they chose to go with it. If someone knows why they chose to go with this, do let me know, because to me this, I don't get it. Why is the C up and down and not the Y? What's the purpose of using it like that? You can select the view direction from the 3D viewport with the view menu entries, navigation gizmo, or by pressing on the hotkey. Which, again, is still weird for me. I'm probably gonna be screwing up this a lot of time because I'm used to with the y-axis being up and down. I don't know. I'm sure going to screw up a few times with that. And hopefully my audio is actually working. Yes, it is working. Okay, never mind. The operator changes view to be aligned with the specific global axis, which is again not even in order. Like 7's top, 1's front, and 3's right. Like because they're not consistent. It's just this is just weird. I probably would not rely on the shortcut because how am I supposed to remember these like random numbers? Because that's how it feels. It just feel like random numbers. I'm pretty sure this can be remap. I'm still not gonna rely on that. Holding control shows the other side of the axis. On, back, and left. Why is it like that? I don't know. We'll see if I ever have the need for that. I highly doubt it. This already doesn't feel intuitive at all. If I do happen to need that, I'll probably end up remapping it to something. I don't know. Holding shift aligns the view relative to the active selection. So you can, for example, view a rotated object side or align the view to an active face of the mesh to mesh edit mode. The view can also be aligned by holding Alt middle mouse button and moving the mouse towards the view to align to it, which is probably will rely on the most. Align view menu. Align view to activate. To active, I mean. To the options in this menu aligns your view with specified local axis of the selected active object, bone, or in edit mode with the normal of the select face. If I end up making a lot of mistakes, like there is a lot of heat here today, it is kind of hard to think properly. Like, even had to roll my clothes, like, yeah. It is so hot today. Downshift while using the numpad to set the view axis. Align active camera view, give the active camera the current viewpoint. Control number 0, number pad 0. I'm not gonna use the number pad because that's where all my shortcuts are at. Align active camera, choose to select it. Points the active camera towards the selected object based on the selection of the current viewpoint. Center cursor on frame all. Moves the cursor back to the origin and zoom in out so that you can see everything in your scene. That would be Shift C. I need to remember that one. Center view to cursor. Centers view to 3D cursor. View lock active. Centers the view to the last selected active object. Overriding other view alignment settings. guess I would learn that for when I need to constantly be looking at the same object and I know I'm gonna be turning the camera around a lot but don't want the camera to move away from it in any way, shape or form. Unless I absolutely need it to. View lock clear returns the view align to the view aligned setting before use of the lock active. Okay, my music just suddenly stopped. There we go. Let's see, perspective orthographic. That's a weird word. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Mode, all modes, menu, or number pad key, which I'm not going to press. This operator changes the projection of the viewport camera. Each 3D viewport supports 2 different types of projections. These are demonstrated in the figure below. Okay. This orthographic projection and perspective projection. Trying to like process what I'm seeing. Perspective I kind of understand if I'm looking at an angle and this screen smaller, but here I'm looking at it from the smaller side. Yes, it looks to get bigger, like mirrored in some way. I don't get it, nor can't even think how I would use this. I don't know, I'm no artist, so this will take me some time to understand and figure out how to properly use it. Our eyes is used to perspective viewing because distant objects appear smaller. Orthographic perspective often seen a bit odd at first. It definitely is messing with my eyes. Because objects stay in the same size regardless of their distance. Wait, that's the same size? It is like viewing the scene from an infinitely distant point. Nevertheless, orthographic viewing is very useful because it provides a more technical insight into the scene, making it easier to model and judge proportions. Wait, this is all the same size? I mean, this feels smaller to me than this, but this is all supposed to be the same size? Orthographics messing with my mind! I don't know how much I'll rely on that. It messes too much with my mind. Options. To change toggle between the 2 projections for the 3D view. For the 3D viewport, select view perspective orthographic or use the shortcut number pad 5. Might end up changing if I do happen to rely on that, which I highly doubt it. Changing the perspective from 3D viewport does not affect the way the scene will be rendered. Rendering is in perspective by default. If you need to create an orthographic rendering, select the camera, go to the camera tab and press orthographic button in the lens panel. See also render perspective and camera projection, which I have not. I don't think I've gotten to that, or maybe I did. No, I'm pretty sure I have not gotten into any of that, nor do I see it in this section of the whole viewport stuff. see, local view and toggle local view. Okay. Number slash. I think I know what key that is. Since I don't not using an American keyboard, I'm using the Argentinian keyboard. There's a few slight differences. Global view shows all 3D objects in the scene. Local view isolates the selected object or objects so that they are the only ones visible in the viewport. This is useful for working on objects that are obscured by other ones, or to speed up the viewport performance in heavy scenes. Local view is contextual, meaning that it can be set per 3D viewport. So if, like in this example, so like selected this, I used the toggle local view and it got rid of everything but what I selected, but even though the stuff still exists. At least that's what I'm understanding. I guess I could use it when like I do have like other stuff and I want to like edit something very specific, but there's something the way making it hard to model. Just drinking some water right now. Those notes cover changes in local view which are not immediately obvious. 3D cursor in local view in 3D cursor is not locked to the scene. Instead, each view has an independent cursor location. Layers. The local view bypasses layers using only the selected object when entering local view. Although new objects can be added while in local view. That makes sense. I mean, you're probably trying to add a bunch of stuff to it, but you make it look different. Tip. Accidentally pressing the number pad slash can happen rather often if you're new to Blender. So if a bunch of objects in your scenes seem to have mysteriously vanished, try turning off local view. Remove from local view. Objects can be removed from local view by selecting them and using the remove from local view operator. This will remove the selected objects this will move the selected object back to global view, and all other objects will remain in local view. If the last remaining object is removed, the local view will be left empty and it will have to exit local view to see any object. Makes sense? Okay, there. Camera view. And there's that familiar monkey head. The camera view shows the current scene as seen from the current active camera viewpoint. The camera view can be used to virtually compose shots and preview how the scene will look when rendered. The rendered image will contain everything within the dashed line. Dashed line? What dashed line? I guess the outline you mean? I'm not sure. Also see camera settings for details how camera settings are used to display and rendering. And active camera can be selected while in camera. Hold on. There we go. In camera view using the camera frame, assuming the object isn't hidden. Just fixing the music just now because it had gone completely silent and I didn't understand why. This switches the view to active camera. The triangle above the camera will become shaded when active. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, even though I had some coffee just now, I don't know where that came from. Well, then again, I'm not much of a reader. This is the camera currently used for rendering and when viewing from the camera. This set the current active object as an active camera and switches to the camera view. The active camera can also be set in Scene tab of the properties. Ow, I just hit my desk, sorry. So, I can technically have multiple cameras? I know that it's saying this is active camera, but what about the other two? Like this orange one and this black one. What is that supposed to be? Note. The active camera as well as the layer can be specified to a given view or global lock to the whole scene. See local camera. Animated camera switching. By default, a scene contains one camera. However, a scene can contain more than one camera, but only one of them will be used at a time. So you will only need to add a new camera if you are making cuts between them. See animating cameras. I guess I think that's the only reason you would add another camera is just for animation. I don't see any other reason to do so. I'm not gonna be messing with that just yet. Right now I just want to figure out how to make an object. And how to navigate through that 3D plane. Frame camera bounds. Center the camera view inside the 3D viewport screen area and resize the view to fit within the areas bound. Maybe explain why you would do that. What the reasoning behind that? I don't know. Camera navigation. The camera no, there are where is got the camera from? Sorry about that. Heat's messing with me right now. There are several different ways to navigate and position the camera in your scene. Some of them are explained below. Zooming in and out is possible in this view, but to change the viewpoint you have to move or relocate the camera. Hence, the active camera might be any kind of object. So these actions can be used. For example, to position and aim light. Let me drink some water real quick. It's so hot today. I'm not probably drinking water very often. I don't know how long I'm gonna go because of this heat. Camera view position. By enabling lock camera to view in the view panel of the sidebar region while in camera view, you can navigate the 3D viewport as usual while remaining in camera view. Controls are exactly the same as when normally moving in 3D. See fly walk navigation, which we already did, for first person navigation to move the active camera to. We already looked at on a previous video. Roll, pan, dolly, and track. To perform these camera moves, the camera must first be selected to transform operation apply to it. The following actions also assume that you are in camera view. Having done so, you can now manipulate the camera using the same tools that are used to transform any object. Roll, press R to enter object rotation mode. The default will be to rotate the camera in the in its local Z-axis. The axis orthogonal to the camera's view. That word's gonna mess with me. Which is the definition of a camera roll. Do a barrel roll. It's no, actually that wouldn't be a barrel roll, more like a backflip because it's using the Z-axis, which is up and down. Vertical, pan, or pitch. This is just a rotation along the local X-axis. Press R to enter the object rotation mode, then X twice for the first press selects the global axis. Pressing the same letter a second time selects the local axis. This works with any axis. See the axis locking page, which I don't think I've gotten to that yet. Horizontal, pan, or yawn. This corresponds to the rotation around the camera's local Y-axis. Press R and then Y twice. To dolly a camera, press G, then middle mouse button, or C twice. Doesn't say exactly what dolly does. Sideways tracking. Press G and then move the mouse to. You can use the X twice or Y to get the pure horizontal or pure vertical sideways tracking. Viewpoint. Wait, don't we? Is this a repetition of something we've already seen? Blender uses a right angle. Yes, it's repeating itself. Why did it all of a sudden just repeat itself? Blender? Let's skip that because for some reason it just repeated itself. Which that's exactly what we started with. Huh. Blender seems to have some repeated pages. I need to be careful with those so I don't end up reading the same thing twice. View regions. Okay. Clipping region allows you to define a clipping region to limit the 3D viewport display to a portion of 3D space. It can assist in the process of working with complex models and scenes. It's like a hollow structure or something, or a box. Once active, you have to draw a rectangle with a mouse in the wanted 3D viewport. It becomes a clipping volume of 4 panels. A right angle parallelepiped. What? Parallelepiped. How do you pronounce this? This is one weird word. Infinite length. If your view is orthographic. Okay, let me open this to see if it tells me what that is. Once it decides to load. Let me read this part. A rectangular base pyramid of infinite height. If your view is in perspective. Let me see. Geometry is a 3-dimensional figure formed by 6 parallelograms. The term rhomboid is also sometimes used in this meaning. By analogy, it relates to the parallelogram just as a cube related to a square. So it's exactly this. The rhomboid, pretty much. That's weird. Whoop. That's the Krita part. Not gonna mess with that yet. I don't know why it went straight to that after I closed it. I do have the tab open just so I can maybe start the next section of the stream much faster. Okay, that's a weird word. I'm not gonna lie. I can't even pronounce that properly. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering it big time. Where was I? Okay, here. Once clipped is used, you will only see what's inside the volume you have defined. Tools such as paint, sculpt, select, transform, snapping, etc. will also ignore geometry outside the clipping bounds. To delete this clipping, press Alt B again. So it's Alt B. So selecting region selected, and view rotated. This is from the outside, and what is this? From the other side, I guess? Let me make that bigger. Oh, it's just a slightly tilted. Not gonna lie, that is weird. Nor do I know any proper application for that. Unless you were gonna leave that as is, but then again, whatever you put will also be affected by it with the clipping. I don't know. I also have to probably experiment with that if I ever happen to need it. That's a big if. Does anyone actually use clipping? And if you do, what do you use it for? Like, what use does it have? Do let me know in the chat or in the comments below if you're watching the video or VOD. The region volume clipping image shows an example of using the clipping tool with the cube. Start by activating the tool within Alt B with Alt B, upper left of the image. This will generate a dashed crosshair cursor, click with the mouse button and drag out and out a rectangular region shown in the upper right. Now the region is defined and clipping is applied against the region in the 3D space. Notice that part of the cube is now invisible or clipped. Use the middle mouse button to rotate the view and you will see that only what is inside the pyramidal volume is visible. All the editing tools still function as normal, but only within the pyramidal clipping volume. I'm pretty sure butchering this again. Not for the hard words there, Blender. The dark gray area is the clipping volume itself. Once clipping is deactivated, all of 3D space will become visible again. Render region. When using render shading mode, it can be quite slow to render the entire 3D viewport. To fix this, you can define a sub-region to render just a portion of the viewport instead of the entire viewport. This can be very useful for reducing render time for quick previews in an area of interest. Okay, there's an example like that's without shading, and I guess this box is telling, okay, render the shadow here, but not everywhere else. Or just zooming into it, I don't know. Kinda hard to tell. Tip: you can also use this region in the final render by setting a render region from which the camera view and enabling region in the dimension panel. Also see zoom region. Okay, contextual view. Oh no, what now? OBS just had a little hiccup. Let me check. How are things on you guys' end? Because I didn't get any error on YouTube or VStream, like at all. I don't see any error sign. I don't know, kick, but for some reason I just got like a little error saying problems with connection with OBS. I don't know why. I don't know what just happened. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. No, alright, I was just starting contextual views. The 3D viewport has several contextual view modes that can be set from a particular 3D viewport. This view can change how the overall 3D viewport looks or how you interact with objects. Quad view. What was that? There's a dog. Toggling quad view will split the 3D view into 4 views. 3 orthographic side views and 1 camera user view. This view will allow you to instantly see your model from a number of viewports in this arrangement. You can zoom and pan each view independently, but you cannot rotate the view. Okay, so I'm guessing this is camera. These are the top, front, side view. I'm guessing there's like must be a way to set which one you actually want. Maybe you want to see the back and not the front, not the top or the front. So you just want to see the back. But I do see uses for this. Options lock. If you want to be able to rotate each view, you can uncheck the lock position, which I don't know why would unlock set positions. Box syncs the view position between side views, requires a lock to be enabled. Clip clips object based on what is visible in the other views, requires box to be enabled. I guess like if I zoom in here, like things on these views will actually begin to get clipped. At least that's what I'm understanding. Let's see, 3D cursor. The 3D cursor is a point in 3D space which can be used for a number of purposes. Placement. There are a few methods to position the 3D cursor, which I'm guessing this little circle thingy. At least I'm thinking that is. Direct placement with the mouse. With the cursor tool enabled, using left mouse button in the 3D viewport will place and it's not going for some reason. We'll place the 3D cursor directly under your mouse pointer. The view space is used to control the rotation of the 3D cursor. For accuracy, you should use 2 perpendicular orthogonal 3D views, i.e. any combination of top 7, front 1 and side 3. That way you can control the positioning along 2 axes in one view and determine the depth in the second view. Okay. By default, the depth of the geometry under the cursor is used. This can be disabled using the cursor surface project toggle in the preferences. See snap menu, which allows the cursor placement navigate relative to scene object. Sorry about that. What is wrong with me today? Is he really messing me up that much? Ugh. 3D cursor panel. The 3D cursor can also be positioned and oriented by editing these values. Location, the location of the 3D cursor. Rotation, the rotation of the 3D cursor. Relation mode, the relation mode of the 3D cursor, which doesn't say much, honestly. Not enough details there, Blender. Usage, The 3D cursor is used as the origin of any added object, can be used and moved with the snap tool, and is an option for the pivot point. Okay. I'll maybe understand it better once I actually get to doing stuff. Selecting this page, discuss specific selection tool for the 3D viewport. The 3D viewport also uses the general select tool, which are described in the interface section, which we already covered in a previous video. Center point. Select these objects by center point rather than its context. Menu. Wait. Select the object by a center point rather than in context. Okay. If the objects are overlapping in the view, a menu of objects under the cursor can be used, so you can pick an object by its name. These can be combined, so you can, for example, toggle the selection from an object center point. Just checking the music, so I couldn't hear it. I do have my headset volume lowered, so in case anything goes off or something happens, I can actually hear it. No, right click, select, select with mouse button option. Use the advantage that selection is possible without having to switch to the select tool. Well, that was it for selection. Okay, we're still within the viewport section though. Which as long as I saw, but then we'll see. Just reaching the 50-minute mark, so I'm gonna go for a little while longer. The controls do seem to cover a bit. We shall see. There we go. Transform orientation. Okay. Transform orientation affects the behavior of transformation. Location, rotation, and scale. You will see an effect on the object gizmo, the widget in the center of the selection, as well as on transformation. It contains axis locking. For example, when you press X during the execution of the operation, it will constrain the transformation to the global x-axis, but if the x and x a second time, it will constrain to your transform orientation x-axis. I did not understand any of that. I'm not gonna lie, actually. I did not understand any of this. But what exactly would I be transforming? Because I hear transform, it's like changing something. The orientation option can be set through the transform orientation selector. This will be viewport header. In addition to the 5 preset options, you can define your own custom orientation. See custom orientation below. Orientation global aligns the transformation axis to the world space. The axis in the top right corner of the view and of the grid floor shows the axis of the world coordinate system. Let me check one thing. Okay. Local aligns the transformation axis to the selected object space. When an object is related, the direction of the local gizmo matches to the object rotation relative to the global axis. While the global gizmo always corresponds to the world coordinates, aligning the transformation. Let me start that over. What happened there? I don't know what just happened there. I kind of like lost track of it. Rotation to the okay, no, I was right here. Normal. Aligns the transformation axis so that the z-axis of the gizmo will match the average normal of the selected element. If multiple elements are selected, it will orient towards the average of those normal. In object mode, this is equivalent to local orientation. Gimbal, how do you pronounce that? Align each axis to the Euler rotation axis as used for input. Use the gimbal behavior that can be changed depending on the current rotation mode. You align the transformation axis to the window of the 3D viewport, of which goes back to normal, which is Y becomes up and down, and C becomes forward and backwards. That's inconsistent because one says C is up and down, the other said now C is towards always from the screen, like forward and backwards. Okay, Blender consistency. Cursor aligns the transformation axis to the 3D cursor. Example, which is using rotation as a means of transforming it. Custom orientation. You can define the custom transform orientation using objects in or mesh elements. Custom transform orientation defined from objects used the local orientation of the object, whereas those defined from selected mesh elements, vertices, edges, faces, uses a normal orientation of selection. I think that customers just like putting in the numbers that will edit the orientation through numbers, or by just grabbing and dragging on the axis you want to turn. What was I? Over here, I believe. The transform orientation panel from the header of the 3D port can be used to manage transform orientation. Selecting the active object, adding a plus icon, deleting X icon, and rename custom orientation. Which I'm losing my voice a little bit there, sorry. The default name for these orientations is derived from what you have selected. If it's an edge, it will be title edge. If it's also an object with some, if it's an object, it will take what object name, etc. Create orientation. To create a custom orientation, select the object or mesh element and click the bottom of the transform orientation panel. Okay, this doesn't tell me much. Okay, there you go. Excuse me. Trying to hold that one in. Just after creating the orientation, the create orientation adjust last operation panel gives a few options. Name the text for naming the new orientation. Use view. The new orientation will be aligned to the view space. If use after creation, if checked, it leaves the newly created orientation active and override previous. If the new orientation is given an existing name, the suffix will be added to it to avoid overriding the old ones, unless override previous is checked, in which case it will be overwritten. No shit. I don't see much of custom actually there. Okay. Let me use some water. Maybe they didn't put enough coffee on my mate, that's why. Pivot point. This actually I think is going to be useful. When rotation or scaling an object or a group of vertices, edges, or faces, you may want to move the pivot point to make it easier to manipulate an object. Using this selector in the header of any 3D viewport, you can change the location of the pivot point. Okay, and pivot point types, which apparently they all have their own respective section. Okay. This is significantly longer than I thought it would be. Bounding box center. Bounding box. Okay, let's finish loading their Blender, please. The bounding box is a rectangular box that is wrapped as tightly as possible around the selection. It is oriented parallel to the world axis. In this mode, the pivot point lies in the center of the bounding. You can set the pivot point to bounding box with comma, or via the menu in the other header. The image below shows how the object's bounding box size is determined by the size of the object. I'm guessing like this dot in the middle is gonna be the pivot point, and what we would want to edit if we want to like move this on a specific position, like shown here in this image. In object mode, transformation takes place relative to the location of the object's origin, indicated by the yellow circle, and the size of the object is not taken into account. The image below shows the results of using the bounding box as the pivot point in some situations. I guess it does have a limit of where you want to put it. Like right here, it's like right in the corner, but you cannot take it any further than that. I'm assuming you can't take it out of that bounding box. In the example, the orange rectangle has the origin located on the far left of the mesh, while the blue rectangle has its origin located in the center of the mesh. Okay, when a single object is selected, the rotation takes place around the origin. So wait, so you can't technically take it outside? Because it's showing like here's the pivot point, which may move like alright, over here for some reason. As an example. The image above left shows that when multiple objects are selected, the pivot point is calculated based on the bounding box of the selected objects. More precisely, the centers of the objects are taken into account. In edit mode, this time it is the geometry that is enclosed in the bounding box. This bounding box is in edit mode, takes no account of the other objects, only the center of the selected vertice. Okay, why would you? I mean, maybe there might be a situation where that's necessary. Can't really think about it. This one just looks as if they were being mirrored. Although the pivot point here is in the middle of it all, while this has pivot point inside the thing. Not gonna dwell too much on that. Let's carry on. 3D cursor. The 3D cursor is the most intuitive of the pivot points. With the 3D cursor selected as the active pivot point for either the header or via period, simply position the 3D cursor and then do as the required transformation or rotation is and scaling transformation will now be done relative to the location of the 3D cursor. Is that some way making like the door a little bit easier to make? As long as it's the same size. I was relatively short, not gonna. I was like, wait, is this starting to repeat again? But no, I don't recall seeing these. It's individual origins. In object mode, the origin of the object is shown in the 3D viewport by a small orange circle that tells Blender the relative position of the object in 3D space, and my music is not starting for some reason. There we go. Sorry about that. Get the music, the nice vibe music going again. Normally I would listen to like hard rock, heavy metal, but for this situation I feel like it would be fitting. Maybe once I start actually drawing, I will start actually putting my sort of music, if I can get my hands on something that won't be copyrighted. The origin of the object, and I think I just read this. Yes, I did. The origin does not have to be located in the center of the geometry, e.g. mesh. This means that an object can have an origin located on one end of the mesh, or even completely outside the mesh. For example, the orange rectangle in the image above has the origin located in the far left of the mesh, while the blue rectangle has the origin located in the center of the mesh. When the pivot point is set to an individual origin, the origin of the object remains in place, while the object rotates or scales around it. Rotation around individual origin, middle, compared to the median point. It's like it's like just these middle ones, but this one also has like one in here that's making them all move. And same goes for scaling. Yeah, if there was like one right here in the middle. In edit mode, oh, this actually looks kind of cool. I would use this to like maybe create like a floor design that actually stands out. I would do, heck, I would even use that looking just like that. Actually, it looks kind of cool. Not gonna lie. This one too. This one sort of, but this one's the most. They should look boring. When you rotate or scale the touching face edges, they are instead as a single element and keep the shape of the group. Each group is transformed independently around its medium point. So like similar to this, but you're not seeing like the where the middle is actually. Now let me drink some water real quick first. How long have we been going on this one? We can still go for a little while longer. How far are we? We are right here. Almost through pivot point. Median point. The median point can be considered to be broadly similar to the concept of center of gravity, cog. If we assume that every element, object, face, vertex, etc. of the selection has the same mass, the median point would sit at the point of equilibrium for the selection. In object mode, Blender only considers the object origin when determining the median point. This can lead to some counterintuitive results. That's gonna happen a lot to me, I'm guessing. In the figure median point in object mode, below, you can see that the median point between the object's origin and can be nowhere near the object mesh geometry center. Like here it is in the center, but right here it's like a bit of a ways from all the objects, and here are their actual centers. So like these should actually be inside each one of these, but it's not. In edit mode, in the edit mode, the median point is determined via the part of the selection that has the most elements. For example, the figure median point in edit mode, when there are two cubes with the equal number of vertices, the median point lies directly between the two cubes. But if you subdivide one cube multiple times so that you can have many more vertices, you can see that the median point has shifted to the region with the most vertices. I hear both of them are saying, but in this case, this one has like a bunch of vertices. But yeah, that did make it shift. Hopefully, that median point can actually change. Hopefully. Carrying on. Last part of the pivot point. Active element. The active element can be an object, vertex, edge, or face. The active element is the last one to be selected and will be shown in a lighter orange color when the object mode and white when in edit mode. Okay. So in one mode it'll be orange and the other mode's gonna be white. Okay, something for me to remember, which I'm gonna forget it. With active elements as pivots sets to active, all transformations will occur relative to the active element. Okay. Just scanning the images right now, that's all. In object mode, when in object mode, rotation and scaling happens around the origin of the object. This is shown by the figure to the below, where the active object, cube, remains in the same location. Note its position relative to the origin point, or to the background, while the other objects rotate and scale in relation to the active selected. It's kind of hard to tell with the circle because it's kind of the same in every image except here where it's actually being shrunk and slightly moved in. Here you have everything like rotated, I guess, tilted. In edit mode, using the active element as a pivot point in edit mode may seem complex, but all the possible formations follow this few rules. The pivot point is always at the median of the active element. The transformation occurs by transformation of the vertices of the selected element. If an unselected element shape shares one or more vertices with selected element, then the unselected ones will get some degree of transformation also, thus generating these effects. I like how this one looks. This one again looks like a good floor design. Let us examine the following example. In each case, we will see the two rules apply. Single selection. When one single selection is selected, it becomes automatically active, and in the image below you can see that when it transforms, its vertices move, while the consequence that any adjacent element which shares one or more vertices with the active element is also transformed. Let us review each case. Face have their pivot points where the median of their vertices is. Edges have their pivot point on the middle, since this is always there when median of the edges is. And I need to start a new playlist right now because that one I had on just ended. Sorry about that. A single vertex has no dimensions at all, so it cannot show any transformation except translation, which is not affected by the pivot point. Okay. And look at this mess of images. Let's see. Multiple selections. When multiple elements are selected, they all transform. The pivot point stays on the same place as what we have described above, In the image below, the selected elements have been relocated. For faces, the transformation occurs around the median of the vertices from the selected face. The first one was with multiple ones, which is also keeps the same behavior with their pivot points at their median. There is a case for vertices this time. The active vertices is where the pivot point resides on the vertices are transformed relative to it. Okay. Okay, I think I get what you mean. Like right here, all three of these are hit, but this is the pivot point, this white one, and you're rotating it, so it's dragging these two. Same deal here. You're rotating this one, it's actually dragging the other line. In this case, this box is the one side, it's dragging the other selected box. This should be the end of pivot point. Yep, that goes back to, it'll take us to snapping. And I think that, how long is it? It's not very long, so let's go through snapping and then call it there for Blender. Snapping, the ability to snap objects and mesh elements to various types of scene elements during a transformation, is available by toggling the magnet icon in the 3D viewport header button. Okay. Snap elements. Increment snaps to grid points when the orthographic view. The snapping increment changes depending on the zoom level. On the zoom level? Note, in this context, the grid does not mean the visual grid cue displayed. Snapping will use the resolution of the displayed grid, but all transformations are relative to the initial position before the snap operation. Why tied to the zoom? I don't get that. Let me join some more real quick. Vertex snaps to vertices of the mesh object. Edge snaps to the edge of the mesh object. Face snaps to the surface of the face of a mesh object. This is useful for retopologize. What the hell is this word? Okay, I have never heard of this word, so if anyone knows what this means, let me know. What the hell is retopologizing? Because I'm no artist, that's why this is unknown to me. This is alien to me. What? It doesn't even like give me a description of what it is. Volume snaps to a region with the volume of the first object, found below the mouse cursor. Unlike the other option, this one controls the depth, i.e. C coordinates, in current view space of the transform element. By toggling the button that appears to the right of the snap target menu, see below. Target objects will be considered as a whole when determining the volume center. Edge center snaps to the middle of the edge. This snaps element uh, pertains to the mesh object. Okay. Edge perpendicular snaps to the nearest vertex in the edge that makes the perpendicular angle. The snap element only pertains to the mesh object. Tip: multiple snapping modes can be enabled at once by shift left mouse button. The different snapping elements. Okay, just with those images would actually help. But I think I do understand it now by just looking at the images. Snap target. Snap target options become active when either vertex, edge, face, or volume is selected as the snap element. These determine what part of the selection snaps to the target. Active moves the active element vertex in edit mode, object in object mode to the target. Median moves the medium for the selection of the target. Center moves the current transformation center to the target. Can be used in 3D cursor to snap with an offset. Closest moves to move the closest point to the selection of the target. Okay. I guess it's different examples. Closest will snap like the edge of the top down over to the top of the box, so that is the closest. Active, I don't really know. I guess it's depending on what you're selected, like snap to whatever is you selected. It's kind of hard to tell what it does here. Same deal here with medium, because all it does is just move the snap to the middle. I guess it actually aligns, like say that you have just one thing, this has somewhere inside of all this, and this will move to where that medium is. Anyways, over it. This one is kind of hard to tell what it's doing. I guess I'll know for sure once I actually start using it. Additional snap options. This is much longer than I thought it would be. As seen by the yellow highlighted area in the image above, resides the snap target. Additional controls are available to alter snap behavior. These options vary between modes, object and edit, as well as snap element. The 4 options available are absolute grid snap, available only for the increase option. Snap to grid instead of snapping in increments relative to the current location. Back face culling excludes back facing geometry from snapping. Don't really know what it's referring to there. Project onto self, available only in editing mode for vertices, edges, faces, and volume. Snap elements to its own mesh. Align rotation to target. Available for vertices, edges, faces, and volumes. When the snap affects rotation, this aligns rotation with snapping of the target. Project individual elements. Project individual elements. Available in snap to faces. Project individual elements on the surface of other objects. Okay, we get it. Snap peel object available for snap to volume. Considers objects as whole when finding volume center. Effect limits the effect of the snap to the transformation type. Okay. Multiple snap targets. Once transforming a selection with snapping on, not just when holding control, you can press A to mark the current snapping point, then proceed to mark as many other snapping points as you wish, and the selection will be snapped to the average location of all the marked points. Marking a point more than once will give it more weight in the average location. Instead of being like around here, which would be the middle of all these, they like push it over to this because this one has more weight to it. Snapping sure has a lot, so I might actually leave snapping there. Although no, actually no, snapping just ended. Never mind. That moved on to proportional editing, which is already significantly lengthy. And I've covered a little over an hour and a half for this. So I'm gonna leave the Blender part there. Let's see, so right now I'm just gonna do a little YouTube outro for the video, so not ending the stream, so for what I'm about to say this. So there are a few ports I didn't get, so for those that maybe understood those, can maybe explain to me in some simpler way down in the comments below. Like, I'm no artist, so a few of these things are a bit hard for me to understand. No, and it was a double. Okay, so I'm gonna leave Blender right here. So for those watching the video, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye bye. And that stopped the recording. So right now I'm gonna go back to the starting soon screen because I'm gonna start a new recording for the Krita section. I'm not really ending it or like doing anything particular. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back while I set up the Krita part of the documentation. So be right back. Hello there, everyone. Oh god, what just happened? Okay, there we go. Welcome to the Krita section of the stream or video if you're watching this as a video. Since I do these live doing Blender first and then Krita, and I of course split the videos separately. Let me get the music back going. We'll get the whole Krita stuff on the screen soon. I just having some minor technical difficulties with Krita itself. Like I like having the software running on the back, just in case I need to do something like hands-on. Like the last time I messed with it, where I had me like make my own brush, which I did not save that brush, and now I'm having some more technical difficulties for some reason. What the hell, Krita? What are you doing? Just a drawing software. What? Blender doesn't even give me this sort of issues. I do have the documentation ready already. We can carry on where we left off, which was on Canvas Brush Editor. What the actual devils? Come on. Krita, React. I hope I'm pronouncing this software properly. Okay, Krita really needs to get his shit together. Why is the editor not launching? It's using up resources, like saying, dude, I'm launching, but you're not actually launching. It's actually overloading my encoder for some weird reason. It's been messing with OBS. Why the fuck is that happening? I'll be getting it on the screen in a second. Give me a sec. Damn, Krita's actually not behaving right now. Why is Krita taking so many resources just to launch when it uses a lot less than Blender? Blender launches even more smoothly than this. Come on, come on, what the hell's going on? Trying to get the task manager up to see if I can see if it's even showing up there. And maybe cancel it out and try and launch it again. Why is it opening two task managers? Hang on. I'll get the Krita stuff going in just a sec. I don't know why today Krita said to just not cooperate at all. Now I see the thing actually trying to launch. For some reason it's not even letting me load Task Manager. Why are you eating resources that you don't even need? They're messing with the music for some reason. I didn't have that running before because I had Blender running in the background before. Just in case any of its documentation part got into more hands-on stuff. Okay, now I just stopped my music completely. God damn it there, Krita. It's even fully bugged out, Krita, right now. And I have a bugged out splash screen blocking absolutely everything that's not going away for some reason. God damn it. I hate it when this happens. Let me try this again. A lot of things is being bugged out because of Krita right now. And don't tell me to use Photoshop because I cannot pay for that thing. Photoshop is not free. How do I get rid of this goddamn splash screen that's actually eating up resources? It's even bugged, like completely bugged. Okay, I need to figure out how to refresh a few things now. Why are you opening again? I had actually closed you. I have to try and thoroughly find how to end some of these because not even text is loading up now. I did locate the one of the main issues. Hopefully this what I'm doing on the background fixes it. Slowly, I don't know why it tried to open like 5 Kritas at the same time, even though I clicked it only once. There we go. I'm seeing more of them. Slowly but surely, things should be coming back to normal. Entirely. Some things are still like heavily bugged, or some things are not properly loading. I don't know why. Fortunately, I can intuitively navigate some of this stuff. I had to use it several times. Hang on, give me a second. I don't remember how to refresh the video driver. Most of those things are still heavily bugged, but let's see if we can actually get the Krita go up and running and actually start this. Now it's loading normally. I don't know what happened previously that it decided to just screw me over. Okay. Now some stuff still hella bugged. this still looks normal. Background still looks normal. I need to reset my computer after the stream, but right now it seems to be working. Okay, is it not recognizing? Okay, there it is. Got the Krita in the background just in case I need it. Right there. Never mind, I'm not even showing it right now, sorry about that. Let me just transition over to it. There we go. There's a thing that for some reason bugged a lot of stuff. Let me see if it affected anything else. No, okay, things are still working normal for the most part. But let's get this over with. Krita, I don't know what happened with the software, that it did break a few things, particularly text related, that are now all completely bugged. You guys probably saw it when I showed the editor. Actually, you can probably see it from up top, right there. Some of the text is completely bugged. And same goes for the text measure. It is got completely bugged. I don't know what happened. Well, let's get this over with so I can get to fixing that later. Okay, on canvas brush editor. Krita's brush editor is, as you may know, on the F5 key, which it was mentioned in a previous section where they were like going just over it pretty quickly. However, something you just want to modify, sometimes you want to modify a single parameter quickly, perhaps even in Canvas. Hopefully my audio is actually working too. Yes, it is. Goodness. Perhaps even in Canvas only mode. The on Canvas brush editor or brush HUD allows you to do this. It's accessible from the pop-up palette by clicking on the lower right arrow button. You can change the amount of visible settings in their order by clicking in the settings icon next to the brush name. I'm not gonna mess with it now. On the left are all unused settings. On the right are all unused settings. You use these arrows buttons to move a setting between the two columns. The up and down buttons allow you to adjust the order of the used setting for when you think flow is more important than size. These setups are per brush engine, so different brush engines can have different configurations. Okay. I'm trying to locate these arrows by looking at the image. I don't. I see this one here, but I guess this is will change. Let's move on. Mirror tool. This is something I am going to rely on probably a lot because symmetry is hard for me in drawing. Especially once I do like, I don't know, what's it called again? I don't know what's called again. You make a drawing to use as a reference sheet. There it is. I remember it. When you're trying to make a reference sheet and you got like a T-posing character that needs to be symmetrical in some way, then yeah, this is probably something I would really like. Especially when it comes to eyes. Eyes and hands are probably the hardest things to draw. This is where I'll rely on this mirror tool. Draw on one side of the mirror line while the mirror tool copies the result on the other side. The mirror tools are accessed along the toolbar. You can move the location of the mirror line by grabbing the handle, which is probably like this image right here. Go away, antivirus. I don't want to deal with you right now. Also, for options like this, like a mirror tool will be also very useful. That's probably one of some of the first things I'll probably start drawing, like simple objects. Again, I'll probably on the Discord I'll put like a question of what people want me to try and do, but also like keep it simple, please, guys. Link to my Discord down in the description below. Oh, and I'll do it on the outro, something I forgot to do. Mirror tools give similar results to the multi-brush tool, but unlike the multi-brush, which only traces the brush strokes like the freehand brush tool, the mirror tool can be used with any other tool that traces strokes, such as the straight line tool and the Bezier curve tool, and even with the multi-brush tool. I don't know what this tool is, but it does highlight. That means I'll eventually see it. Horizontal mirror tool mirrors the result along the horizontal axis, vertical, again, the vertical axis. There are additional options for each tool. You can access these by clicking on the top. Let me start this over. There are additional options for each tool. You can access these by clicking the. This should not be there, but it's by clicking, not by the clicking. This should not exist right here. They need to delete it. That's why I was getting stuck. With a drop down arrow located on the right of each tool. Height mirror XY line toggle locks the mirror axis and hides the axis line. I probably wouldn't hide it because I don't want to know where the mirror actually is. Locks XY line toggle hides the move icon of the axis line, of which I'm guessing it's this. Move the canvas center XY, move the axis line to the center of the canvas. Mirroring along the rotated line. The mirror tool can only mirror along a pers pers perfectly vertical or horizontal line. To mirror along a line that is a rotated angle, use the multi-brush tool and its various parameters. It has more advanced options besides basic symmetry. That's good to know. Like, say I wanted you to draw this like diagonally, that would help. Multi-brush tool is probably something we'll get to later. Let me drink water real quick. Is the music actually going? Yes, it is. Just drinking some water. It is really hot here. If I was watching the video, probably hear the fan in the background. It is summer for me. It's the moment of this video. It is really hot. So I'm drinking water constantly and having the fan on constantly. Painting with assist, which is something I'm gonna be relying on at least at the beginning, because I'm not an artist. I am gonna struggle quite a bit. This would actually be very handy for some lines. The assistant system allows you to have a little help while drawing straight lines or circles. They can function as a preview shape, or you can snap onto them with the freehand brush tool. In the tool options of the freehand brush, you can toggle snap to assistant to turn on snapping. Back to snapping. I was just reading snapping on Blender just recently. It's a vanishing point assist in action, which is something I probably will rely on when making like some kind of room, or like this, like a street with some buildings. We shall see. Or maybe when drawing, like we're looking at an object at an angle and I want to make that effect. Following assistants are available in Krita. Types. There are several types in Krita. You can select a type of assistant via the tool option docker. Ellipse, an assistant for drawing ellipses and circles, very handy. This assist consists of 3 points. The first 2 are the axis of the ellipse, and the last one is to determine its width. I guess I'm gonna have to experiment with that a little bit. Concentric ellipse, the same as ellipse, but allows for making ellipses that are concentric to each other, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If you press the shift key while holding the first 2 handles, they will snap to perfectly horizontal or vertical lines. Press the shift key while holding the 3rd handle and it will snap onto the perfect circle. Sorry, I was scratching a little bit. There's some mosquitoes here today. Perspective ellipse. alternative assistance for drawing ellipses. It can be used either simply to draw an ellipse. Simply? Is this simply or simply? I think simply. To draw an ellipse defined by a tetragon, which the ellipse is tangential to, or in a perspective as an ellipse representing the perspective transformation of a circle, which I can kind of see it a little bit here. I kind of do see a few uses for that when drawing perspective, like I'm drawing like a table or something. I can see with some stuff in it. I see myself relying on something like this. The assistant consists of 4 points, which are the corners of the tetragon defining the ellipse, with X like marks showing the location of the vanishing point from the perspective. Like, another thing that I can think of, like maybe you're looking from very high but in an angle. That could also work. There are 2 sets of lines inside the ellipse. One solid, the lines connecting points where the ellipse touches the tetragon. There are 2 sets of lines inside the alright, I just read that. Sorry. I was just getting the music going again. There are the axes of the circle in perspective. The dotted lines represent the current actual axes of the final ellipse. Okay. I don't know why they are different. I guess I'll see the use for it once I actually start drawing with it. Perspective. This ruler allows you to draw and manipulate grids on the canvas that can serve as perspective guides for your painting. A grid can be added to your canvas by first clicking to the tool on the toolbar and then clicking 4 points on the canvas, which will serve as the 4 corners of the grid. Okay, but I'm seeing more than 4 dots here. This grid can be used with the perspective sensor, which can influence brushes. The grid can be manipulated by pulling on any of the 4 corners. The grid can be extended by clicking and dragging the midpoints of one of the edges. Hey there, Cameron, how you doing? This will allow you to expand the grid at other angles. This process can be repeated on any subsequent grid or grid section. look lonely, so sub. Thank you for the sub. Yeah, this is I'm doing as my own little project to try and one probably make 2D and 3D assets for when I start making games on Unreal, and two like to eventually make like maybe my own avatar as for probably other drawings I might do on my own. It's something I do want to kind of get into, but I don't know how to use Krita. So that's why I'm going a bit to documentation to understand. I'm probably going to be using these at first, these assist, to make drawing a little bit easier, since I am no artist myself. Let's see. Where did I leave off? I still haven't said what the first thing I'm gonna draw. I'll probably put it on my Discord, or like a question of when I actually start drawing, what would you like me to see drawing first. I will probably want to keep it simple while I get used to using Krita. I don't use Photoshop because I can't pay for it. Plus, does Photoshop have these assists? I don't recall it having those. That's when I saw my brother using it when he was going to college. If you press the shift key while holding any of the corner handles, they'll snap to one of the other corner handles. Set. You can delete any grid by clicking on the cancel button at its center. This tool can be used to build a reference for complex scenes. I use Illustrator more than Photoshop. Illustrator. I think I've heard of that one. I don't know if that one was even free. I chose Krita because my brother recommended it to me and because it was free. Now, I'm glad it has these assists. I'm probably gonna be, yeah, if it's Adobe, then yeah, it's not free. Adobe doesn't have like anything that's free. The ones that are, they aren't actually good. If I were to, I might like eventually try to draw something like this, just not this, but I'm glad I have the access to these things to help me simulate perspective and get an idea of okay where my lines are gonna be to simulate like proportion or distance. Ruler. There are 3 assistants in this group. Ruler helps create a straight line between 2 points. Infinite Ruler extrapolates a straight line beyond 2 points on the canvas. Parallel Ruler. This ruler allows you to draw lines parallel to the line between 2 points anywhere on the canvas. If you press shift key while holding the first 2 handles, they will snap to perfectly horizontal or vertical lines. I've been asking streamers this weird question, and I'm gonna ask you now. Are you ready for it? It's your opinion, by the way. Okay, ask away. New in version 5.1 of these, the ruler assist also has extra options to add markers. What would you call it? What would you call it if you backflip in a pool of hamburgers? What would I call that? Ooh. That's a tough one. Full of hamburgers. One, I don't know why you would do that. I mean, all that grease. Two, a waste of food. Let me think. What would I call it? Backflip into a pool of hamburger. I asked someone and they said double flip. What would I call it? The Big Mac flip, maybe? What else? What else can I think of? Other people said Cowabunga burger flips, somersault back burger, and Mac flip. That was actually good. The Mac flip. Back burger. That also sounds good. Some people are actually giving some big ones. Yeah, Big Mac flip. I'd say it'd be more like a Big Mac flip. Especially since I'm the type of go for the Big Mac. Like, I do eat a lot. No, I am a dragon after all, so good. It is to be expected. Subdivisions. This adds notches to the length of the assistant, evenly spread over the assistant. You have their look spot. Hot. Thank you. Now, it did take me a while to make this from random assets on some Chinese website, but at least I got you look close enough to what I actually had in mind. I am looking forward to actually drawing what I actually had in mind, but it will be some time before I do that, when I get the hang of Krita first. And also get a hang of drawing. Like I said, I am no artist. I'm probably gonna end up struggling a little bit. And probably relying on the mirror function a bit. Particularly to get the eyes right. I've tried drawing eyes, but whenever I try, like, they never feel aligned to me. Also for the horns, to make sure they're in the right spot. Kinda wanna make a reference sheet first. And eventually maybe try and put it on through Blender to make like a low poly version or something. What animes do you like to watch? I do watch a bit of variety, but I am mostly lean towards like action, adventure, comedy. Let me think. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, which I need to find a site to finish watching it. Overlord. What was the other one I was watching last? It's occasionally. I am a coward when it comes to horror. Hey, every time I play a horror game on my streams, I generally leave it for the month of horror. Although I do want to get more into doing some more horror stuff. Right now it is a little bit hard because, well, there's a 4-month-old baby brother close by, and these walls are pretty thin. And I don't want to traumatize the little guy. Minor subdivision. This adds extra smaller notches between the subdivision. I guess I could use this to like help keep some lines like aligned or something. Promise Neverland, Attack on Titan. I did watch Attack on Titan. I didn't finish it. I got one point I got sick of Eren Yeager and just stopped. High School of the Dead. I want to watch High School of the Dead. And Tokyo Ghoul. I have not seen that one. Parasite doesn't sound familiar. Another, I've heard of it. I heard it's good. Haven't gotten around to actually watch it. When They Cry, Devilman Crybaby, and many others. Oh, Devilman Crybaby is one I've been curious about. I gotta hop onto that one. And I heard it's supposedly good. I wanna. I do definitely wanna. Oh, I was also watching. Is it Demon Hunter? Demon Slayer? No, Demon Slayer. I think it was. I have been watching that one. I haven't watched the movie yet. Yeah, I watched the first entire season. I still need to watch the movie for that one. I did like that one. Spline. What kind of assistant is this? This assistance allows you to position and adjust 4 points to create a cubic. I cannot pronounce this. Besire. I think that's what I was going. Curve. You can then draw along the curve, snapping your brush strokes directly on the curve line. Perfect curves every time. There are a few old animes I would like to watch again. It's been a long time, like Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho. What's this other one again? It's been a long time since I watched. Hunter x Hunter I never finished watching because they stopped airing it here in Argentina where I'm at. Never got to see the ending of it. I'm gonna have to start from the beginning because it's been a while. I don't mind swear words in anime. I mean, I've seen some violent ones. Black Lagoon, Ghost Stories. Ghost Stories, wait, what's the original one? Oh, I don't know if you heard about the dub of Ghost Stories, which that pretty much became its own abridged thing. Fortunately, here in Argentina, we got a better dub of Ghost Stories. We didn't get that abridged stuff. My god, what a watch that is in English. Claymore, I don't think I've heard of that one. Black Lagoon, yeah, I have heard of it. I think I've seen bits and pieces, but I haven't had time to actually watch the whole thing. Perfect curves. I might actually rely on this one to make the curves look right. If you press the shift key while holding the first two handles, they will snap to perfectly horizontal or vertical lines. Press the shift key while holding the third or fourth handle, they will snap relative to the handle of the attack. Michigo and Hatchin don't sound familiar. At least they're not air here. I might need to look into those. Oh, Berserker! I remember I started watching the original Berserker way back then. I need to start watching that one again. Although, I don't know if they are ever going to be able to finish, because didn't the Berserker author die or something? Or was that a different franchise similar to it? I don't remember now. There was another anime / manga where its author actually died before finishing it. That was actually, I think, Berserker was it. Can't remember right now. vanishing point. This is probably what we're using it quite a bit. This assistant allows you to create a vanishing point, typically used for a horizon line. A preview line is drawn in all four shapes, for snapped lines, and draw to this line. And so, like music anime. Have I seen any musical anime? I'm trying to remember. K-On! Oh, I was gonna watch K-On! At one point, but then something came up and it had to put that one on hold, and then I forgot about it. Attack OP Destiny, haven't heard of that one. Given and Show by Rock, I think I've heard of that. High School Idol Project, I think I've seen bits and pieces when going around the internet, but I don't think I've watched that one yet. But K-On! I know I did want to try and watch that one, but then something came up and I forgot about it. It is one point with 4 helper points to align to the previously created perspective line. They are made and manipulated by the assist tool. Sad animes. Oh, I think there was an anime that made me cry once. Oh, it was so long ago too. I can't remember what its name was. Oh, it was one anime that was like really emotional. I can't remember the name of it. It was been so long ago since I watched it. Oh, Made in Abyss, I need to pick up now that I remember it. Like, I watched the first season, I haven't continued watching that one. I think there's already another season for that. But I haven't found a place to actually watch it. Since Crunchyroll went all full premium, so I need to find somewhere I can watch it without pirating. And my music died. There we go. Grave of the Fireflies. Oh yeah, that one was sad. I'm trying to keep my grandma from watching that one. She's curious about that one. I keep on telling her, don't. It's really sad. 5 centimeters per second. Doesn't sound familiar. Wolf Children. I did watch that one. I did like it. I think I've watched that one like 3 times actually. There was a time where it will be broadcasting on TV here. Planet, I haven't actually watched that one. Whisper of the Heart, didn't hear about that one. Garden of Horrors, sounds familiar. Your Light in April, I heard is pretty emotional. I haven't gone around and watching it because of that. And Spirit Away, oh, that's one I've watched several times as well. Although I wouldn't consider Spirit Away a sad anime, actually. It is an emotional anime, but I wouldn't consider it exactly sad. It does have a bit of sad in it because she never gets to see her friend Kohaku. Anime in Your Name. Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Oh, I actually think I saw that one as well. It's been quite some time. That one, I did like that one a bit. Silent Voice doesn't sound familiar. Children Who Chase Lost Voices. I never heard of that one. I might need to check it out. Let's see. Changed in version 4.1. The Vanishing Point Assist also shows several general lines. That's gonna be useful. When you've just created or when you just moved the vanishing point assistant, it will be selected. This means you can modify the amount of lines shown in the tool options of the assistant tool. I do plan on trying my character in several situations. This vanishing point might actually help quite a bit. These are cute and adorable animes. Oh, I like cute and adorable things, and I think, what have I watched that's like that? I haven't watched those very many of those. But I can't remember right now off the top of my head any. Fisheye point. I don't know if I will use this. Lucky Star. I think I started it once, but I didn't finish it. Komi Can Communicate. Oh, I love that one. Komi Can Communicate. That's actually a really good one. I think I watched the entire first season. I don't remember the second season. I think there is a second season already. Can't remember right now. Aharen Sands and Oren High School Host Club. Aharen sounds familiar. Oh, Miss Kobayashi, I already watched the whole thing, so of what's out so far, I believe. I need to check if there's any new episodes. But even the shorts I watched, I really like Kobayashi. It's so wholesome. And yet funny at times. Like the vanishing point assistant, this assistant is per a set of parallel lines in a 3D space. So to use it effectively, use two, where the second is at a 90-degree angle of the first, and adds a vanishing point in the center of both, or combine one with a parallel ruler and the vanishing point, or even one with two vanishing points, and the possibilities are quite large. I don't think I would rely too much on this fisheye view. No, in Miss Kobayashi, sometimes I feel like Kana steals the show. Kind is really adorable. This assistant will not just give feedback, snapping between the vanishing point, but also give feedback to the relative left and right of the assistant. This is so you can use the edge case like panoramas with relative ease. If you press the shift key while holding the first two handles, they will snap to perfectly horizontal or vertical lines. Press the shift key while holding the third handle and it snaps. I don't know if I'll use this fisheye point ever. Just watch. I don't know if I should say the anime. I don't know if TOS would allow it. Like, maybe ecchi stuff would be allowed. Like, Monster Musume is one I watch, and that one's actually okay. No, I know that one. I did not watch it. I did see Noble suffer through that. Noble from Lost Pause. I am not falling for that trap. But no, like close to what that one would be like Monster Girl Doctor that I watched, Monster Musume. Well, I did like both. Wanna know them? Look it up online. Maybe one I might want to watch is that time I got reincarnated as a farmer on another world or something like that. I haven't watched that one, and I'm curious about it. Two-point perspective. Oh, what was this other demon one that I watched? Nah, I haven't finished watching it. Like, I got, I think, the first season out of the way, but... The one with the red glove with the green gem on it. I can't remember... High School DxD, was it? I need to pick that one up at some point. They gave me quite the laughs a few times. This assistant simplifies the setup of two-point perspective by combining the function of the vanishing point assistant and the parallel vertical ruler into one single assistant. Additionally, it displays accurate square grid panel of the configured perspective, which can help you visualize tune and intensity of the perspective distortion. This will help making like a large room or a station, like it shows like right down here. Yep, I'm not falling for that trap. I am not falling for that one. Destiny, an extra option in the tools option. This controls how dense the grid is. Enable vertical ruler. This allows you to display a vertical ruler so that the assistant is only two vanishing points in the grid. It goes down here, that vanishing point here, vanishing point here. This is definitely something I'll probably rely on a little bit. In the above image, the 2 points perspective with an area limited is enough to draw an indoor area. The assistant is colored in blue here. Tips: you can hold specific key combinations while moving the vanishing point to activate the following behaviors. Hold the vanishing point will only move along the horizontal line. This is actually good to know. Control the grid will rotate along the vanishing point on the horizon line. This allows you to easily draw several points, several 2-point objects that belong on the same scene at various angles to each other. I don't know how much of that I would actually use. Control Shift. Both vanishing points move to change the visual size of the grid's field of view. And wait, is this actually gonna have me do something with it? Tutorials. Check out this depth discussion and tutorial on... I'm not gonna hop on to this video because I know there's an issue when showing videos from other channels on YouTube due to like copyright, so I'll probably end up watching this video on my own time for safety. I don't want to have to deal with any copyright issues. Setting up Krita for technical drawing like perspective. So now that you've seen a wide range of drawing assistant in Krita offers, here's an example of how using this assistant can set up Krita for technical drawings. This tutorial below should give you an idea on how to set up the assistant for a specific type of technical views. If you want to instead do a true projection, check out the projection category, which I don't think I've gotten to that. I don't want to skip anything. Orthographic. Orthographic is a mode where you try to look at something from the left or the front. Typically, you try to keep everything in exact scales with each other, unlike perspective deformation. The key assistant you want to use here is the parallel ruler. You can set these up horizontally or vertically, so you always have access to a grid. Axonometric. That's a weird word. All of these are set up using 3 parallel rulers. I guess that would be similar like X, Y, Z, or something along those lines. Oblique, I think that's how it's pronounced. The oblique sets 2 parallel rulers to horizontal and vertical, and 1 to an angle representing depth. Like something around here, but with this grid it's kind of hard to tell for me. How do they use this as a proper example? It's kind of hard to tell. I can see these 2 lines here, but all these squares are actually messing with my eyes right now. Dimetric and isotropic. Isotropic perspective has technically all 3 rulers set up at 120 degrees from each other, except when it's game isometric. Then it's a type of dimetric projection where the diagonal values are 116.565 degrees, a little too specific, from the main. The latter can be easily set by snapping the assistant to the grid. I guess I could use this to design a 2D level when I start doing more of the Unreal stuff. Like we get hands on trying to do something 2D. Like this could help to like design through drawing a 2D level. Trimetric is when all the angles are slightly different. Often looks like a slightly angled isometric. Linear perspective. Guess like this is that trimetric a little bit because this looks a little bit angled, and it's not like a perspective. 1 point perspective. A 1 point perspective is set up using 1 vanishing point and 2 crossing perpendicular parallel rulers. Of which, why is this so small? I can't really tell where the vanishing point actually is. nor where the rulers are. The music. What music do you like to listen? I do write my music, but generally I listen to like hard rock and heavy metal. I don't put that stuff here on my stream because I don't know any that isn't copyrighted. So right now I just put any random ambient music here. I made types of music, but my most favorite is lo-fi, chill waves, emo mixer with rap, mixed with rap. Those are pretty good ones as well. Like, I do write what I listen. Like, yeah, my favorite like rock and heavy rock and heavy metal, like hard rock and heavy metal. But I do like listen to other stuff like that emo mixed with rap. I do listen every once in a while. Sometimes I look for something chill, like the ambient stuff that I'm listening to now. Alternative rock as well. I do listen to the occasional rap. I am picky with that one. Same goes with pop. Pop I'm a bit picky with it, but I do listen to some of it. Two-point perspective. A two-point perspective is set up using two vanishing points and one vertical parallel ruler, often putting the vanishing point outside the frame. A little can decrease the strength of it. You can also use 2-point perspective ruler to set this one up very quickly. Two perspective ruler. Like I see here's the central point, but very kind of hard to tell what it's actually describing here. I guess here it's kind of more noticeable because you got a perspective of looking down, but also what's in front. Sometimes I even listen to like chiptune every once in a while as well. The occasional techno. 3-point perspective. A 3-point perspective is set up using 3 vanishing point rulers. Logic of the vanishing point. 3 vanishing points? I do see a bit of use to that. There are little secrets that represent that perspective tutorials don't always tell you, and that's that a vanishing point is a method where any 2 parallel lines meet. This means that a 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective are virtually the same. You can prove this via a little experiment. That's that good old problem, drawing a railroad. Yeah, I have seen this being used as a common example for vanishing points. Let's see. You're probably familiar with the problem, how to determine where the next beam is going to be. As perspective projection will make them look closer together. Typically, the solution is to draw a line in the middle and then draw 2 lines diagonally across after After all, those lines are parallel, meaning that the exact same distance is used. Oh, I can see what it's doing down here. But because there are parallels, when we can use the vanishing point assistant instead, and we use the aligning handle to align it to the diagonal of the beam and to the horizontal here marked with the red. This is how they draw the planks while still maintaining this illusion of the vanishing point. That diagonal can then be in turn be used to determine the position of the beams, which I can kind of see them like right there when they draw those diagonals. That's actually very helpful. I think my music died a little bit. There we go. Because any given set of lines have a vanishing point outside the ones flat on the view plane, there can be infinite amount of vanishing points in a linear perspective. Therefore, Krita allows you to set vanishing points yourself instead of forcing you to only use a few. That's actually very nice. And here's that fisheye perspective stuff. I do like the fact that they're showing this animation. Why didn't they use that up here as well? That would be very useful if they did that. The fisheye perspective works much the same as the linear perspective. The big difference being that the fisheye perspective, in the fisheye perspective, any parallel set of lines have two vanishing points, each for one side. To set them up, the easiest way is one horizontal, one vertical on the same spot, and one vanishing point assistant on the middle. Oh, you see like the lines move as it moves around. Okay, I'm just looking at what it's doing. Oh, I think I get it now. So this is more like to guide you, okay, where the curve should be for when you're drawing something. I don't know how much of this I'm going to rely on. I'm not that much of a big fan of that fisheye view. Like, to me, it's always looked weird. But you can also make one horizontal one that is just as big as the other horizontal one, and put it halfway. Huh? I can see this horizontal one, but is it talking about this bent one? I don't know. But oh well. That finishes up. What was this again? Painting with assistant, which is something I'm probably gonna be relying on at first. Next Tuesday we'll start with working with images. Because I'm gonna close the Krita right now because it's broken right now for some reason. And let me switch to the other layout because I'm gonna leave it there. This Krita part went longer than it potentially should have been. Like normally I do like 1 hour of it, and unfortunately I did have that rough start with it because Krita didn't want to cooperate and it bugged out several things. So I'm gonna have to restart my computer to fix those problems. Well, hopefully a reset actually works, but oh well. Honestly, I am glad Krita has those assists. I'm gonna start like simple when I start drawing, but when I start like drawing something like my character in some kind of scene, I might rely on those assists. Or when I'm trying to like draw a background for my stream, like for my character for where I'm at, instead of just sending in the blue void, maybe draw something to put there instead. What am I gonna draw? I don't know yet. And if anyone's in my Discord, like maybe in the art section, leave some suggestions or something. But we shall see. That's a bit of a ways from now anyways, because I still don't know how Krita works entirely. Like so far the only hands-on stuff I've done is making my own brush. I was actually looking more music options for my stream eventually, so I am enjoying these ambient stuff, so it is nice and calming and it feels like it works well for now. But anyways, first gonna do a YouTube outro. So, I'm pretty sure there's a few things I didn't understand. So for those watching the video, let me know in the comments below. Explain those parts that you actually didn't understand properly, or what some of those words that weren't properly explained actually mean. There were for a few words I actually don't know what they mean, like if I had never heard of them. And let's see. Yeah, at least for now, that's gonna be it. I can't think of anything else to add there on this. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye bye. And there goes the recording. There we go. I can stop recording now. I can actually look on YouTube Meteor Shower. I'm actually going to stop the music right now because I am going to mute the desktop audio. So when I look into VStream, you guys won't be able to hear what's going on there. I am multi-streaming to YouTube, VStream, and Kick. On Kick, I don't know how to raid. I need to start looking at some Kick streamers. I start following a few of them, and to have someone to actually raid at some point. If raiding actually works on Kick, I actually never even checked. Let's see. There's a few people on right now on VStream. Actually, no, there's several people on. Let's see, anyone else doing art right now on VStream? See other games right now. Let's see. Oh, we got Kila Kuma, who I think I maybe showered her before. Like she's rigging something on Blender. Oh man, that process looks quote unquote fun. Yeah, since this was an art stream, might as well meteor shower another artist. So give me a second while I set this up. And now there we go. Firefox was not reacting. So while that loads, slash meteor shower. And Kilakuma, there we go. So that is gonna be it for today's stream. Normally these whole Blender and Krita streams are all gonna be during Tuesdays, or about the same duration. Like, I'm trying to put a bit more time into Blender a little bit, since it was the one that got voted on my Discord to have a bit more priority. Hopefully we can get you actually start doing something and either Blender or Krita at some point soon. And when I start, like, I don't do trial by fire because, like I said, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know what is what does what. Heck, I didn't even know that Krita had assists until I got to that part, which is honestly great. Yeah, let's see. Tomorrow, Wednesday, of course, I'll have my Unreal streams. And also it's gonna be, for the time, Genshin. I'm thinking about changing the game for Wednesdays. Like right now I'm still doing Genshin just to like fill in. I haven't decided what game to play on Wednesday. I'm like debating, do I do Destiny 2? Do I do Phantasy Star Saga? No, Phantasy Star Genesis? I think it was like that. Or do I do a single player game? I haven't decided what to do with the Wednesday stream entirely. I want to keep the art stuff just for Tuesdays for now. Maybe once I start a project, maybe I'll get even longer streams, or maybe even more than one day. But you'll see sometime down in the future. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm actually starting to get tired. Yesterday I went to sleep very late, so I need to try and recover that sleep that I kind of missed out. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed today's stream, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye bye everyone.